Do you have a customer service training plan in place for your employees? Because if you don't, you're basically missing out on a chance to turn your customers into lifelong customers and to turn the new customers walking in through the door into loyal repeat customers. If you don't have a customer service training plan in place, then your employees aren't going to be equipped to be the best employees you've ever had. Big businesses will literally spend millions of dollars researching what it is that makes customers buy. They have found the secret by doing so and created a formula out of it. That formula has been translated into a script that's specific to their business. And it's something that I'm going to show you how to do today for your business. Today is day 10 of my 30-day YouTube challenge, where I will try to post a video every single day on YouTube. Every video that I've posted has been about helping small businesses redesign so that they can thrive instead of just survive. In today's video, I'm going to talk to you first about what makes bad customer service. Then I'm going to give you 3 industries and how they're using the big business formula to create scripts for their employees that up their customer service. I'm going to talk about how you can use the secrets of secret shopping to improve the customer service of your employees currently. Finally, I'm going to give you that formula that big businesses spend millions of dollars on to make their customers more loyal and to get their customers to come back again and again. Finally, just as a bonus, I'm going to give you the secret sauce that you can use with the formula that will take your customer service from good to excellent. It's very simple. You probably already know it, but we're going to talk about it anyway. So let's get this party started. Part 1. Bad customer service. What do you think bad customer service is? I personally have been to almost 30 countries before becoming a flight attendant. Since becoming a flight attendant, I've been to almost every state in the US. And I can definitely say, out of all of the places that I've traveled, the best customer service that I've gotten by far has been here in America. I think a big part of that reason is because America has the mentality that the customer is king. Today, I'm going to talk to you about bad customer service from when I lived in Ireland. To do this, we got to go back to 1999. I was a junior in college. I'd been studying abroad for half a semester at this point, and I'm now in my second semester, and I'm out of money. I need a job. From the age of 16 on, I had worked 2 jobs at a time in both the retail and the restaurant industry. So I had a very good understanding of what went into very good customer service. I ended up getting a job at TK Maxx in Blanchardstown, Ireland. And I helped open the store in 1999. It was very fun. I was in my early 20s, and I like to introduce myself as Erica from America, which people thought was really funny. Now, because I was a foreigner, they didn't trust me with the cash register. That particular branch had no training program for us when it came to customer service. They trained us how to restock the shelves in the same way that you would see in TJ Maxx. We would just organize the clothes and put them in order by size, clean up the shoes, stuff like that. At that point, customer service had already been drilled into my head, and I could not help myself. If a customer came within 3 feet of me, I would greet them. It was really funny to see the Irish people's reaction because they're not used to customer service like that. They would immediately think that I was watching them, because in Ireland, the people who greet you at the door are usually security guards, and they're usually doing that to let you know that they're making sure you don't steal. So whenever I would greet an Irish person, they would immediately get their defenses up. Of course, I had to diffuse that because I had just made them uncomfortable. So I would usually say, "Do you need help?" They'd say, "No, I'm just looking." I'd say, "All right, I'll be over there. My name's Erica from America. If you needed me, just give me a holler." And the next thing you know, they would call me over every single time. I was probably the only person in the store that was giving customer service. As far as I'm concerned, bad customer service is when you're ignoring the customer. Think about how many times you walked into a coffee shop and you walked up to the cash register and the person behind the cash register is not making coffee. Instead, they're talking on their phone, and you try to get their attention and they give you the finger, that wait finger. I hate that. I don't know about you. Terrible customer service. It's definitely going to piss your customer off. And if your customer gets pissed off, they're going to leave and they're not going to want to come back. Bad customer service is making things difficult for the customer, ignoring the customer, making them feel like they're on their own in your store, that you don't matter, that they can't find a person to help them. These kind of things are what goes into bad customer service. Now that we have an idea of what bad customer service, let's talk about good customer service by first talking about restaurants. Part 2, restaurants. For the next part of this, I want to talk to you about basically the formula that restaurants use in order to give better customer service. The example I'm specifically going to use is from Carl's Jr. For those of you on the East Coast or the Midwest who don't know what Carl's Jr. is, it's basically Hardee's. Hardee's and Carl's Jr. are the same business, same sandwiches, same food. The only difference is the size of the hamburger patty. Anyway, Back in 1995, I was working at Carl's Jr. I was about 17, 18 years old. And at that point, I'd already worked 6 or 7 jobs. But this was the first one that I had gone to that had a customer service training program. With this customer service training program, we were told that we had to follow a certain script. As long as we followed the script, there were going to be people who were going to come and test us, called secret shoppers. If they hit us up and we missed something in the script, we would get a grade. The worse the grade was, the more trouble you'd get in. But as long as you were a 90 or above, which meant you only missed like 2 or 3 items in the script, then you would get a bonus in your record. If you got a perfect 100%, then they would give you a cash bonus. It wasn't a lot of money, but it was more than the $4.50 an hour that I was making at the time. The very first part and the most important part of the customer service at Carl's Jr. at that time was the greeting. They had a timer over the window, and this timer would start the minute a car pulled up in front of the menu. You generally had to greet them within 30 seconds. It didn't matter if you were in the middle of talking to a customer that was standing in front of you at a cash register, if you were in the back making food, if you were in the bathroom. You had 30 seconds to answer. Generally, it could be something as simple as, "Welcome to Carl's Jr., I'll be with you in a minute." That's all it took. And it turned out there was a whole psychology behind this. In fact, at that time, all those years ago, there was some business organization that did a survey of who gave the best customer service because of the greeting. And the winner at the time was Walmart, which was shocking because Walmart does not have good customer service. But what they did have at the time was a greeter at the door. The greeter at the door was usually somebody that had retired, and they got hired by Walmart to just stand there and say hello to customers as they walked in. They aced the greeting part of the customer service formula. And that's the first part of the customer service formula, which I will give you fully at the end. But for now, the greeting is one of the most important things you can do. And it's as simple as, "Welcome to my business. My name is," which you don't have to say. It does, however, add a personal element if your employee includes their name. So that way the customer will feel like this isn't a robot, this isn't a kiosk, this is actually a person. And the other part of the greeting is to simply ask, "How may I help you?" How may I help you is so simple, and yet so many people don't do it. Think about how many times you've walked into a restaurant and the hostess at the other side of the restaurant just looks at you and says, "How many?" You tell them 4. And then they say, "Name, for here, for takeout." They'll ask you those questions, but a lot of times they skip the whole, "Hi, welcome to my restaurant. How may I help you today? Will this be dine-in or takeout?" Things like that. Simple greetings. Part 3, retail. For this next part, I want to go after Carl's Jr., but before TK Maxx. My second customer service training program was at Sears. The Sears that I worked at had a shoe department that was 100% commission, and that was the department that I got hired for. If I didn't sell, I didn't eat. So I took their customer service training program fairly serious. I pretty much memorized the script because it worked. And I quickly became the highest paid shoe salesperson in our department. Just like in the restaurant industry, there was your greeting. We usually had to do it within 3 minutes. And it didn't have to be that they walked by our department. They had to actually walk into our area where we sold shoes. We would greet them with something like, "How can I help you today?" They would say, "Just looking." And then we would take the opportunity to say, "Okay, my name is Erica. I'll be over there. If you need help, let me know." Or if we were with a customer and we saw them enter the carpet, we would say, "Hi, welcome. I'll be with you in just a moment." And that was a lot of times enough to satisfy them, to know that they had been seen, they had been acknowledged, and it definitely upped the happiness factor. Eventually, we would move into completing the service for them, getting them the different products, and we would go into the upsell. Generally, what would happen with the upsell is they would ask me for one particular shoe. What Sears wanted us to do is not come back with just one shoe. They wanted us to come back with 3 shoes. So we would come back with the one they asked for, and then 2 very similar models. The reason we did that was because the size could be different. This way we were giving them options that were there. They didn't have to wait for us to come back and forth all the time. In fact, most of the time, they would end up settling for one of the other options, which is how I became the best salesperson in that department. I always came back with 3 shoes that were similar to what they were asking, whether it was in the same brand or different brands. Then you would ask for the sale. Asking for the sale was as simple as, "Can I ring this up for you?" They would say yes. I would take them over to the register. I would start to ring them up, and I would continue with the upsell. Generally, that would include something like, "Hey, do you need shoelaces with this? Have you thought about getting this spray over here? If you spray it on the inside of your shoes and you put your feet in, it will help the shoes stretch out faster so it'll be more comfortable." Or, "Hey, these shoes are leather. Check out this leather oil that we have for the shoes that you can rub on it to help keep it clean. Do you want to include that as well? I would say probably about 25% of the time they took the upsell. Retail is not the only one that does the upsell. Restaurants also do the upsell, including McDonald's. McDonald's famous line for an upsell is, "Would you like to supersize that?" It's another way to upsell. You simply ask, you have this product, you have this service, do you want this product or this service to go along with it? And they can say no, but I have to say, in the shoe department, like I said, 25% of the time, they would say yes. So why not train your employees to ask for the upsell? Part 4, secret shopping. For this next part, I want to talk to you about secret shopping. After I came back from Ireland, I worked a couple of jobs in offices, restaurants, even a bar. But then I decided I didn't want to do any more of that. I didn't want to work for anyone else. And I started my own business. One of the things that I added into my business was actually secret shopping. Secret shopping was a great way to get paid right away. And there was a lot of assignments that you could do. I drove all up and down the coast of California for about a year, hitting up mostly banks, but also retail and restaurants. What secret shoppers do is they check to make sure that these big businesses are using the script that the company provided. It's literally that simple. So I would go in, they would give me their spiel, they would go through the script, and they would try to sell me on whatever it was that they were selling. They would try to upsell, and generally my job was to be like, no, I'm not interested, and leave. There was one bank that they managed to actually get me to sign. That's because she made the offer so incredibly tempting that I couldn't resist. That's one way that you can actually make your close and make your upsell even better, is to make the offer so incredibly tempting. There's a lot of ways to do that. It's like discounts and stuff like that. Depends on what your business model is, but think of how you can do that. However, the reason that I'm talking about secret shopping is because you can actually put your own kind of secret shopping system in place. Now, the secret shopping that you might be most familiar with today as a customer is when you go to somewhere like Panda Express, they hand you the receipt, you flip the receipt over, and on the back, there's this information that says, hey, if you go to this website and you fill out the survey, we'll give you a code for a free item with purchase when you come back. Think how great that is. Free item with purchase. It means they're going to give something away, but they're also going to get money for it too. You could do something like that. You can implement your own customer service survey for your customers, and it could be something as simple as putting a box up in your business with a little questionnaire that they could fill out and drop in the box. It could be emails you send out. It could be text messages you send out, or you could just print something on the back of the receipt. It's really up to you. And it's one of those things where you can take your script and you can make sure it's being implemented. Even if you don't have a script, it's a great way to know where your customer service stands the way it is now. And it can help you decide if you actually want to put a script into place. Part 5, travel. For this next part, we're actually caught up to date with where I'm at now. Right now, I work for a regional airline, which means I mostly stick to the US, Canada, Mexico, and the Caribbean. The airline definitely has customer service training. The script is not so much in place, but there's certain things that we are prompted to say when we're actually serving on a plane. There are certain things that we're prompted to do. For example, they want us to give certain snacks at certain times a day. They want us to always put ice in the cup with the drinks. They want us to mix the drinks for the customers. They want us to open the beer cans. Things like that. There's a lot of things that we're supposed to do. Greeting, saying goodbye, and doing our service. Now, as you can imagine, in the travel industry, there are a lot of disgruntled passengers. It amazes me how many people fly and travel and think that everything is going to go perfect all the time from the minute they step into the airport. They really have no idea what they're getting into. The seasoned travelers, they know. They've been through it all, especially the ones that have higher status. There's 100 things that could go wrong each day that can delay a flight. It's everything from weather, the crew getting injured, maintenance issues on the plane. There could be weather at the destination you're going to. There could be weather at the destination where the plane is coming from to get to you. All of this stuff can make the window for changing planes get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until finally you missed it. It just happens, and people get so upset about it. Turns out one of my specialties is diffusing the pissed off passenger. I'm kind of proud of it. I have a ridiculous amount of letters from passengers telling the company how great they think I am. I would show them to you, but then it would tell you which company I work at, and I'm not allowed to do that on video. But I can definitely tell you it's been probably close to 400 in the last 8 years. 400 letters of people telling the company how awesome I am. That makes me feel really good. The secret basically to diffusing a disgruntled passenger or a disgruntled customer in your case is to start off by simply listening. You listen to what it is they're trying to say. And then, if you can, try to use their name. Sometimes you can get their name from the credit card. Sometimes you can just ask them what their name is. For me, I often am able to get it from the manifest. I try to use their name as often as I can whenever dealing with a passenger that's unhappy. The next thing you do is you repeat back what it is they're saying to you, just kind of as a question. In your case, if they're not happy with the food, you're telling me you don't like the taste of the food, or you're telling me that this product that you bought at my store is broken, or it's ripped, or it's damaged in some way. You listen and you repeat back, and the fact that you repeat back makes them feel like they're heard. It makes them instantly happier. But the thing that will really take them from disgruntled to happy is to simply say, okay, let's see how we can fix that. And you offer options that can possibly fix what it is that they're unhappy about. Now, obviously, there's going to be a slim percentage of people that there's nothing you can do that will ever make them happy. But most of the time, if you're listening and you're repeating back what they say and you're offering them options, a lot of times that's enough to turn everything around. Then, if necessary, you apologize for the inconvenience. There's so many people who have a problem with apologizing, and I don't understand that. I am the type of person that if a customer is upset, I will take a knee next to them. And when I say that, think about that. They're sitting in a chair. They're usually lower than me. I'm standing above them. I will take a knee next to them so that they're above me and I can hear them better. I can see them better. I make eye contact. I smile. I nod. And that's one of the secrets of customer service. When customers are doing something that you like, simply nodding like this is a silent secret affirmation that often makes them feel better. So when they're doing something, eye contact, smiling, and nodding can make them feel so much better about the whole interaction that's happening. Being humble, being willing to apologize, basically takes the anger right out of their sails. It doesn't mean that you have to say, oh, that's totally my fault. We're going to pay millions of dollars to fix what happened. But it does say, I understand you're upset. I apologize for that. Somebody needs to acknowledge that what's happening with you isn't quite right. Let me fix that. Then you try to fix it. You provide it. You give that smile. You make sure they're happy. You check in with them. How is that? Did that work for you? Generally, at that point, they're really happy. And that's why I get so many letters from customers. So many people get off the plane telling me I'm the best flight attendant they've ever flown with. And it's such a great feeling. And it's so easy to do. How to implement this into your business. I've gone through the 5 tips, and now we're going to implement this into your business. And I'm going to give you the formula to do that. The formula starts with giving your greeting and offering assistance. Those two go hand in hand. Then the next part of it is you're going to leave them alone because they're probably going to tell you that no, they don't want your help. I think that's a gut reaction for a lot of people. They're not sure if we're coming at them because we're being aggressive or we don't trust them, or if we're coming at them because we want to sell, sell, sell. The next part of that is you check in periodically and you stay alert for them to give you a signal to come here. After that, you're going to provide whatever service they want. An attitude of humility goes a long way. You're going to smile, you're going to make eye contact, you're going to let them know that you hear them by repeating what they're saying. As you're going to, when they settle on something, give them the upsell. You're going to try to close the sale, ring them up, and then before they leave, you're going to thank them. Flight attendants do this all the time as you get off the plane. Thank you for flying with us and see you next time. In fact, one of the best thank yous that I've ever seen is at one of my favorite restaurants. And I've been going to that place for 30 years, and the manager has been there for 30 years. For 30 years, every customer that walks out the door, he says, see you tomorrow. I love that. I actually say that on the plane all the time. As people are getting off the plane, I say, see you tomorrow. Oh, no. Or, yeah, you will. And it's kind of fun to say that. So try a thank you like that. Finally, the secret sauce. So once you have your script and once you sprinkle it with the secret sauce, the final piece of the puzzle is simply to put that customer service survey into place, whether the box, the text messaging, the emailing, or if you hire a professional company. Bringing all of that together can make sure that not only do you give your employees the best tools they have to make your business as successful as possible, but the survey part will help you do a checks and balances to make sure that they're actually doing it, to see how successful it is, and to see if you need to tweak that script a little bit. The secret sauce example that I'm going to use today is Amazon. What? Amazon? Customer service? No way, Jose. They don't have customer service. Actually, they do. When you think about it, when you have to have a return, what's one of the things you do? Most of it is automated. Most of it is easy. I'm not talking about when you return it at Kohl's or Full Foods or a locker. What I'm talking about is when you actually have to text with someone and you get into their text messaging app and you start to text somebody. What is it that Amazon always does that makes their customer service really feel great. Honestly, the customer service reps that you will get on the other side of that text message are usually from another country. You know that because they'll miss the most common words in the English language, but you're still happy when you're done with them. And the reason you're happy when you're done with them is because they say yes to everything and they make it super easy. That is the secret sauce to take your customer service to the next level. Make it easy for them. Question of the day. Finally, we are wrapping this up, and it's time for the question of the day. The conversation I want to have with you is, what is the best customer service you've ever had? Or if you've never had the best customer service, what's the worst customer service you've ever had? Please put your answer in the comments below. Hopefully, I can do a customer service book in the future. And whatever you guys have to say will help me expand that story for other people. Speaking of which, if you like this video, please hit the like button so it'll go out to more people, or share it with somebody you know that could use this advice. If you have any questions for me, it's always best to put them in the comments, but the truth is I only go to the video that was posted within the last 24 hours to answer questions. If you want your question answered right away, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. That way, when the next video goes live, you can pop over to that video and ask your question in the comments there, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Because my goal here at TheBizRedesign is always to help small businesses thrive instead of just survive. Come back tomorrow as I talk about how to figure out who your customers are. It's actually really simple. I'm going to use my research techniques to show you how to do that. And thank you guys for watching. See you in tomorrow's video.